I sat next to my husband's mistress at his birthday and brought her boss with me. Rebecca fidgeted with her wedding ring while sitting in her Honda outside Marino's Italian restaurant. 37 years old, and she was about to pull off the most calculated move of her life. The parking lot buzzed with Derek's friends arriving, his college buddy Mike in that ridiculous yellow Camaro, his sister Lisa's minivan covered in soccer stickers, but the silver Mercedes by the front door? That belonged to Robert Sullivan, CEO of Hartwell Marketing Group. She'd stalked his LinkedIn for weeks, learned his schedule, even, accidentally, bumped into him at a coffee shop near his office. Tonight, Derek would meet the man who held his girlfriend's career in his hands. Rebecca checked her lipstick one last time. The crimson shade matched her mood perfectly. Inside the restaurant, Derek stood near the bar looking completely relaxed, his arm wrapped around this tiny brunette in a sparkly green dress, Amanda Torres, account executive at Hartwell Marketing. 26 years old, fresh MBA, and dumb enough to think married men actually leave their wives, Rebecca had done her homework thoroughly. Found Amanda's Instagram, her company bio, even her college sorority photos. The girl posted everything online like some kind of digital diary. Derek spotted Rebecca approaching, and his smile faltered slightly. Then he noticed the distinguished older man beside her, and his face went completely white. Robert Sullivan looked exactly like his corporate headshots: silver hair, expensive suit, the kind of presence that commanded boardrooms. Derek's confident birthday boy act crumbled instantly. Rebecca glided through the crowd like she owned the place. Derek's mom hugged her warmly, completely oblivious to the drama about to unfold. His work buddies shook hands with Robert, assuming he was some business contact Rebecca had invited. She introduced him simply as Robert from downtown and watched Derek's panic grow with each conversation. Amanda seemed thrilled to meet new people, chattering about her marketing campaigns and recent promotion. The irony was absolutely delicious. Here was Derek's mistress, gushing to her own boss about work while pressed against another woman's husband. Robert played along perfectly, asking Amanda about her projects with just enough detail to make Derek sweat. The birthday boy kept glancing between them like he was watching a tennis match, knowing disaster was coming but unable to stop it. When they announced dinner seating, Rebecca smoothly guided Robert toward the main table. She'd called ahead yesterday, sweet-talking the hostess about adding Derek's colleague to their reservation. Technically accurate, since Amanda did work in Derek's building, just different companies. Derek found himself trapped between his wife and girlfriend while Robert sat directly across from Amanda. The young woman's excitement about meeting someone so successful in marketing died the moment she really looked at his face. Her fork dropped with a loud clatter when recognition hit. Robert's smile never wavered, but his eyes went ice cold. Derek grabbed his water glass so hard Rebecca thought it might shatter. The man finally understood his two worlds were about to collide in spectacular fashion. Robert started telling stories about Hartwell Marketing's latest acquisitions, speaking with the casual authority of someone worth millions. Amanda got quieter with each sentence, her face losing color as she realized exactly who was sitting across from her. Derek desperately tried changing subjects, asking about football scores, commenting on the weather, anything to derail this conversation. But Robert smoothly steered everything back to business. He mentioned upcoming staff evaluations with particular emphasis on character assessments and moral standards. Rebecca sipped her drink slowly, savoring every moment of Derek's growing horror. Amanda excused herself to the bathroom, practically running from the table. Derek's untouched birthday cake sat there mocking him while his perfect little affair fell apart in real time. Things got really interesting when Robert casually dropped news about Hartwell's merger with a London firm. Amanda's eyes went wide. Clearly this was insider information she hadn't heard yet. He explained how the new partnership would require extensive background checks on all employees staying with the company. Derek's hand shot under the table, probably trying to grab Amanda's, but she jerked away like he'd burned her. Her survival instincts were finally kicking in. She mumbled something about needing air and bolted for the exit. Derek started to follow, but Robert's voice stopped him cold. The CEO mentioned having breakfast with the London partners tomorrow morning, then looked directly at Derek with a smile that promised nothing good. Message received loud and clear. This wasn't over by a long shot. While Derek chased after Amanda, Rebecca found herself alone with Robert for the first time all evening. The man leaned back in his chair, studying her with genuine admiration. He admitted he'd been skeptical when she first reached out through LinkedIn, explaining her situation and proposing this crazy plan. But watching Derek squirm had been more entertaining than any boardroom takedown. Rebecca's research had been impressive. She'd not only identified Amanda's employer but also discovered Hartwell's strict policies about workplace conduct. Robert confirmed what Rebecca suspected. While he wouldn't fire Amanda outright, her next performance review would be brutal. The affair might cost her more than just heartbreak. It could destroy her entire career trajectory before it really started. Derek returned, looking like he'd aged 5 years in 10 minutes. Amanda was nowhere to be seen. Apparently, she'd called an Uber and fled without explanation. Robert stood up, checking his Rolex, and announcing he had an early morning. He shook hands with everyone, making sure to tell Amanda's empty chair that he'd catch up with her bright and early Monday. Derek walked him to the door, probably begging for mercy. But Robert's polite dismissal left zero room for negotiation. Rebecca watched her husband trudge back to their table, shoulders slumped in defeat. The birthday boy had finally grasped that actions have consequences. His carefully compartmentalized life was crashing down around him, and there wasn't a thing he could do about it. The rest of the party dragged on painfully. Derek's friends knew something was wrong but couldn't figure out what. They made awkward jokes about turning 35 and getting older, completely missing the real drama. Derek's sister asked where his friend had gone, and Rebecca smoothly explained that Amanda wasn't feeling well. His mom worried that Derek looked pale, suggesting he might be coming down with something. If only she knew her son was actually dying inside as his secret relationship imploded. The birthday cake remained mostly untouched, its cheerful, "Happy birthday, Derek" message becoming more ironic by the minute. Rebecca accepted compliments on organizing such a memorable celebration, while Derek sat there looking like he wanted to disappear into the floor. The drive home was pure torture for Derek anyway. Rebecca felt surprisingly calm, like a weight had been lifted off her shoulders after months of carrying this secret. Derek gripped the steering wheel so tight his knuckles went white, occasionally glancing at her like she might explode. They sat in their driveway for what felt like hours, engine cooling and clicking in the silence. Finally, Derek turned to face her, his voice barely audible when he asked how long she'd known. Rebecca met his gaze steadily and told him everything. The suspicious credit card charges, the mysterious late meetings, the way he'd started guarding his phone like state secrets. She'd known for 3 months, watching him lie to her face while planning tonight's perfect revenge. Inside their house, Derek collapsed on the couch, like someone had cut his strings. Rebecca poured herself drink and settled in the armchair across from him, maintaining distance that felt right somehow. She explained her detective work methodically, how she'd tracked down Amanda through social media, discovered where she worked, even followed Derek to their lunch dates. The hardest part wasn't confirming the affair, it was deciding what to do about it. Simple divorce felt too easy, too clean. Derek needed to understand that betrayal has ripple effects, that his choices affected more than just their marriage. Robert Sullivan had been the perfect weapon, a man whose conservative values and business power made him ideal for this kind of calculated justice. Derek tried explaining himself, but his words sounded pathetic even to him. He talked about feeling unappreciated, about Amanda making him feel young again, about how the affair just happened. Rebecca listened without interrupting, her expression never changing. When he finally shut up, she asked one simple question. Had he ever considered how this might affect her? The question hung in the air like a loaded gun. Derek's silence was answer enough. He'd been so wrapped up in his own selfish desires that her feelings never entered the equation. Rebecca stood up, smoothing her dress. She had morning appointments with her lawyer and a realtor. The house would need to be valued for divorce proceedings. Derek's birthday had officially become the worst day of his life. The following weeks unfolded exactly like Rebecca had planned. Amanda's position at Hartwell became increasingly uncomfortable as Robert implemented new ethical guidelines for staff. Derek heard through mutual friends that his former girlfriend was desperately job hunting, her confidence shattered after that disastrous dinner. Their affair ended not with drama but with mutual self-preservation. Amanda couldn't risk further association with a married man whose wife had such dangerous connections. Derek sent flowers and left voicemails begging for another chance, but Rebecca deleted everything without reading or listening. Her focus was entirely on practical matters, dividing assets, finding a new place, rebuilding her life. Her divorce attorney was impressed by her documentation of Derek's infidelity. Illinois law would definitely favor her. Rebecca discovered unexpected joy in reclaiming her independence. The downtown loft she found felt like a fresh start: exposed brick walls, huge windows, and zero memories of Derek's betrayal. Her friends surprised her with their support, several admitting they'd suspected his cheating but hadn't known how to bring it up. The social circle she'd worried might judge her instead celebrated her strategic brilliance. Robert sent a brief email confirming that Amanda had resigned from Hartwell, citing personal reasons in her departure letter. The girl's LinkedIn profile vanished completely, suggesting a total career reset. Derek's birthday revenge had accomplished everything Rebecca hoped. Justice served with style and precision, leaving her free to start over without baggage. 8 months later, Rebecca got a wedding invitation that made her literally laugh out loud. Derek was marrying some woman named Jennifer, a divorced mother of two who was apparently desperate enough to trust a proven cheater. The timeline suggested he'd learned absolutely nothing from their marriage's spectacular destruction. Rebecca sent a polite decline with congratulations, feeling genuinely free for the first time in years. Her consulting business was thriving beyond her wildest dreams, built on referrals from clients who respected her strategic thinking. She'd started dating a divorced architect named Paul, who actually communicated like an adult human being. The red lipstick from Derek's birthday had become her signature look, a reminder that sometimes the best revenge is simply living well while watching others deal with consequences. Looking back, Rebecca realized Derek's 35th birthday party had been more gift than revenge. That evening revealed her own strength, her capacity for strategic planning, and her ability to rebuild from betrayal without becoming bitter. Robert occasionally commented on her LinkedIn posts, a subtle acknowledgement of their successful collaboration in bringing down a cheater. Derek's attempts to reconnect through mutual friends eventually stopped after his new wife apparently put her foot down. Rebecca kept one photo from that night, herself smiling in her black dress beside Robert, while Derek and Amanda looked miserable in the background. It reminded her that justice doesn't always require lawyers or courts. Sometimes it just needs courage, planning, and willingness to let people face natural consequences of their actions. The final twist came a year later when Rebecca bumped into Amanda at a Starbucks downtown. The former mistress looked older, tired, working as a freelance graphic designer after her marketing career imploded. Amanda recognized Rebecca immediately, and their awkward encounter lasted maybe 30 seconds, just long enough for Amanda to mumble an apology and flee. Rebecca felt nothing, no anger, no satisfaction, just complete indifference. Derek's affair partner had become irrelevant, a footnote in someone else's story. That's when Rebecca knew she'd truly won. Not because she'd destroyed their relationship or ruined Amanda's career, but because she'd moved so far beyond that drama, it couldn't touch her anymore. The birthday cake, Derek never got to enjoy, had become the sweetest victory of her life.